June 1967. In just 6 days, the Middle East changed forever. 3 Arab armies would fight Israel. The map of the region would be redrawn. Jerusalem would be reunited under Israeli control. The Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights would all change hands. More than half a century later, the consequences of those 6 days continue to shape politics, diplomacy, and conflict across the entire Middle East, and yes, the world. However, wars do not start overnight. To understand why Israel launched its first strike on the morning of June 5th, 1967, we have to go back nearly 20 years, to the end of the British Mandate of Palestine. Following the defeat of the Ottoman Empire during the First World War, Britain received control over the region called Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. The mandate lasted from 1920 till 1948. During these decades, both Jewish and Arab communities grew in number and developed separate political institutions, economies, and armed organizations. Tensions between the two communities dramatically increased, and violence erupted periodically throughout the 1920s and 1930s. By the end of the Second World War, Britain found itself caught between competing nationalist movements and growing international pressure. Unable to solve the conflict, Britain announced it would end its mandate. The future of the land would be decided by the newly formed United Nations. On November 29, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 181. The proposal recommended partitioning the territory into 2 states, one Jewish and one Arab, while placing Jerusalem under an international administration because of its religious significance to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
The resolution of the Dutch Committee for Palestine was adopted by 33 votes, 13 against, 10 abstentions.
Jewish leaders accepted the partition plan despite reservations about the proposed borders, for they believed that a small state was better than no state at all. After about 2,000 years of exile, any state of their own would do. Arab leaders rejected the plan, arguing that it was unjust and went against the principle of self-determination for the Arab majority living in the region, and it also inflamed tensions among many Arab nationalists who did not want any Jewish state in the region. Almost immediately after the vote, violence intensified between Jewish and Arab communities, and civil war had begun.
ושוקת זכותנו הטבעית וההיסטורית ועל יסוד החלטת עצרת האומות המאוחדות אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל, היא מדינת ישראל.
On May 14, 1948, the British Mandate of Palestine came to an end, and Jewish leader David Ben-Gurion proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel in Tel Aviv. For Jewish communities around the world, and in the newly re-established State of Israel itself, the declaration represented the realization of a national homeland after generations of persecution and displacement. The Jewish people had at long last regained their sovereignty in their ancestral homeland. For many Palestinian Arabs, the events surrounding the war that followed became known as the Nakba, or catastrophe, as hundreds of thousands fled or were displaced from their homes following an attack by Israel's Arab neighbors, and the subsequent repulsion of these attacks by the newly established Israeli Defense Forces. These two national narratives remain central to how Israelis and Palestinians remember 1948 today. Within hours of Israel's declaration of independence, neighboring Arab states Egypt, Transjordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq entered the conflict. Their governments stated different objectives, but broadly sought to intervene following the end of the British Mandate and the declaration of the new Israeli state. Many Arab leaders had promised the Palestinian militias to drive the Jews into the Mediterranean Sea and to liberate the region from the Jews. The fighting quickly spread across the region. Battles were fought around Jerusalem, across the Negev desert, along the coastal plains, and throughout the hills of the West Bank. Despite facing multiple armies, Israeli forces gradually improved their organization and expanded their territory under their control beyond that proposed in the United Nations Partition Plan. By early 1949, the war was winding down. Armistice agreements, not peace treaties, would determine where the armies stopped fighting, and those lines shaped the Middle East for the next 19 years.